Hi, and welcome to my channel. Thank you for joining me for this lovely video. Today, we are going to discuss overthinking and underfeeling, two sides of the same coin. All right, let's hear it for the joy. Overthinking stems from underfeeling. Overthinking and underfeeling are two sides of a coin when it comes to how we process experiences and emotions. Overthinking is analysis paralysis, anxiety and stress, detachment. You might get stuck in loops of analyzing every possible outcome, which can lead to inaction. Constantly running through scenarios in your mind can heighten anxiety and stress levels. Overthinking can sometimes lead to disconnecting from your emotions because you're focused more on the what ifs than the what is. Now, underfeeling is numbness, avoidance, or a disconnection. Underfeeling can result in not fully experiencing emotions, leading to a sense of numbness. It might be a way of avoiding pain or discomfort, but it can also mean not fully enjoying positive emotions. Disconnection means underfeeling can create disconnect from your true desires and needs, leading to decisions that aren't fully aligned with your well being. Balancing the two involves being mindful of your thoughts and allowing yourself to feel emotions without letting them overwhelm you. Techniques like mindfulness meditation, journaling, or talking with a trusted friend or therapist can help find that balance. Now, why are we talking about this today? Well, I am a textbook overthinker. I am also an underfeeler. So, in many regards, when it comes to things that people process similarly, I tend to be on the outside of that a lot of times, especially in a group setting. For example, I was in a training class not too long ago, and one of the young ladies I was in the training class with had a reaction to something that happened in the moment, but even after the training class was over, she was still on that emotion. She was still processing her feelings associated with that emotion. And for me, I had moved past it long ago, long before the training class was over. I had moved past it. Now, you might be saying to yourself, well, that sounds like you're not an overthinker. Well, no, because it wasn't necessarily something to think about as much as it was something to have a feeling over. And I think that most of the time, especially with women, there's this tendency to lean into the emotion of things and the feeling of things rather than the logic. And I just tend to be more logic brained, right? So I also realized that in my discovery of being an underfeeler, that it is a protective mechanism, right? So protective mechanisms keep us from feeling the pain and discomfort that comes from accessing the emotion stemming from being vulnerable, for example, because we may not feel really ready or have the capacity to feel. And that stems from something. There was probably something that happened to me when I was younger that started me on the road of a protective mechanism to keep myself away from pain and discomfort. Anytime I might come upon those feelings, I was doing things to distract myself from feeling those feelings, from really getting into what that emotion was bringing out of me. Okay. I can be honest with you. I've had issues with being vulnerable in the past. I'm more able to lean into it now, but being vulnerable was always something that I felt iffy about or avoidant towards, which leads me to the next point, avoidance. We analyze every situation, replay past events, imagine the future with endless thoughts. one thing leading to another. And if this happens, then this will happen. And if that happens, then what will happen after that? And what is she thinking if she sees this? And then what if I'm not there to explain that this happened here? And well, if I just avoid it altogether, then I won't have to deal with the fallout. I may be replaying the events, but instead of actually going there, I'm just avoiding it altogether. I'm leaving the room, I'm hanging up the phone, I'm exiting the group chat. Like those are all things I'm going to do just to avoid the bigness, the largeness of what it is that is coming over me in terms of emotion. Defaulting to patterns of suppression. Big one for me here. Big one. And the thing is, I think a lot of people think that suppressing your emotions has to do with bad things or negative things or unsavory things. And it's not always the case. Sometimes we suppress emotions that are overwhelming one way or the other, positive or negative. If you have this overwhelming rush of a good feeling, it's still a big, overwhelming rush. And so instead of leaning into that good feeling, you try to find ways to cut it or to stop it or to lessen it or to suppress it. And I got really good at that. So that not only when things happened that I wanted to avoid was I able to suppress them, but even when things happened that felt really good, something told me I should suppress it because it's probably not what I think it is, or it could be too good to be true, or it's going to end. So if I suppress it now, when it does end, I won't feel it as much. Distraction. Distraction. My favorite distraction was always work. Always. I could always see myself just nestling into whatever was going on at the job. Even if there was a situation that none of us could have predicted, I jumped at the chance to dig my hands into it because that was something that would help me be distracted from whatever overwhelming feelings that I was going through. It was a great excuse to cut myself off from that. We become stuck in thought, keeping ourselves disconnected from discomfort, which leads to anxiety, stress, and it keeps you from the root, keeps you from the root of the cause, the issue, the concern, whatever, right? So if we're overthinking and distracting ourselves due to said overthinking, we're going to be underfeeling as a result of that. Again, like I said, two sides of the same coin. Now, we can access and experience our emotions by stepping outside of our head and nestling into our bodies. Something I learned to do was as soon as I started feeling that overwhelming, whether it was good or bad, putting my hand on my chest right over my heart and humming, or doing it with a little bit of my mouth open to let out whatever it was. If I felt like I didn't want to hold it in or suppress it, like this. If you do that long enough, you will start to feel whatever it is lessen. You will start to feel it transmute. And that's what you want it to do. When you're doing that, it helps you heal in a comforting way. So I just thought I'd share that with you guys. I was actually listening to a podcast not too long ago called The Light Path Podcast by Kirsten Leo over on YouTube. And she made reference to someone named Dr. Joe Dispenza, who I had never heard of before, but because she brought him up, it made me want to look into who he is and what he does. So I want to share with you a few quotes. The first one is, you can't think greater than how you feel. You can't think greater than how you feel. Okay? So if you're feeling distracted, overwhelmed, uneasy about vulnerability, you can't think past that. You can't think above that, beyond that. Emotional regulation is constant work. And a lot of this argument between overthinking and underfeeling has to do with regulation. So, conditioning makes us regulate. Shame, acceptance, perception, these are all things that help us regulate. So, if you have a healthy relationship with shame, meaning that something that you know you don't have any business doing, you feel shame for, because not only do you know you have no business doing it, but other people know that too. And they're recognizing it. And maybe they'll call you on it. Acceptance is saying, okay, this is a feeling that I'm feeling and it's valid. I accept that, but not letting it grow to this overwhelming so that you're overthinking and then you're not actually feeling the thing, right? The perception of it is what's tied to the emotional regulation. Now, let's look at another quote from Joe Dispenza. Life is about the management of energy. Where you place your attention is where you place your energy, right? So, how do I want to feel? What do I want to feel? As opposed to what do I want? How do I want? What do I want to feel by doing this? Challenging yourself to disconnect from the desire and connect more to the emotion. So, if life is about the management of energy, where you place your attention is where you place your energy. If that's what life is about, um, putting the attention on how something makes you feel and where that energy is placed. Does it feel good? Then keep placing it there. If not, then you know you need to make some changes. But if I'm so busy overthinking, I won't have much energy left to feel those emotions, right? Another quote that I want to share with you from Joe Dispenza is, gratitude is the ultimate state of receivership. You've seen me hashtag under my name before, gratitude gal. That isn't by mistake. That isn't just some little quip. That really is something I tend to live by. The more grateful I am, the more able I am to show gratitude, the more I'm able to receive. And so if I live in a state of gratitude, then I am also then in the state of receivership. Let's take a look at a video where this sister is talking about overthinking equaling mistrust. And then I will be wrapping up this pre-record, and I hope that you are enjoying it. Before we get to that video, have you hit the like button yet? Please hit the like button. I'm going to come back to you all with some more stuff, but please, it's not a pick me button. It's a like button. Hit the like button for me, please. All right, let's get into the vid.
What is something that can help with overthinking? Trusting yourself. Overthinking is a lack of trust. Choose something. Choose what you're going to do in those scenarios. Choose and do it. And then it's like, what if it's wrong? Now you're back into the loop of overthinking. The only way you get yourself out of that thought loop is to choose something and to trust what you choose. You'll get into the habit of pausing and choosing. Pause and choose.
Such good advice there. Pause and choose. Don't just nestle into the overthinking of things. Pause, choose, and move. I would add move to that, because if you pause and you choose and you don't move, you might return right back to the overthinking. But when you trust yourself, you don't have the need to overthink. You don't hem and haw about the possibilities. You literally just look at what it is, decide on where you're going, and move on that decision. Thank you so much for joining me today for this quick little recording. Hit the like button on your way out and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for coming by. And you know how I like to end these streams. Peace, ease, and whatever you please.